Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I definitely appreciate it. Hey, Miss Dolores, happy Friday, everyone. Hello, Lolita. Hello there. How are you? Hey, Teresa. Hey, Evangelist. Hello, 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 hello. Alrighty, guys. So listen, this is our coverage of day 4 of Diddy's trial, but we're currently, as of right now, we on day 5. Okay. Now, starting next week, I will only be covering Diddy on a weekly basis because, as you guys know, that they're saying that this child is going to be covered for this child is possibly going to run at least 8 weeks. Okay. So starting next week, it will only be weekly where I will be keeping you updated with everything that goes on within trial. And if anything breaking comes through, of course, we're going to discuss it throughout the week. Okay. That is how this is going to run. But I feel like that the first 5 days is very pivotal in any trial because it allows us to see the direction in which the case is going. And the case is going in a very up and down type of way right now. And it can go at any way. It can go in any direction. Yesterday's coverage in the trial was based on text messages, and it was also the cross-examination for Cassie yesterday. With the defense did have a strong day, I must say. They did have a strong outcome yesterday, and they were able, those text messages were kind of crazy, okay? They were kind of crazy, but I think that a lot of people are waiting on one thing, like, we do know that Diddy is a monster. We know that Diddy was abusive. We know that Cassie is a victim. We know these things, but I think that what the people are waiting on, and you guys let me know this in the comments. I think that everyone is waiting on, okay, where is the RICO though? Where is the trafficking? Where is the organization? That's what many people are waiting on right now. They're looking for the organization. We know for a Fendi fact that this man was abusive to Cassie, without a shadow of a doubt. Thank you so much for the CA. And I think many of us are just trying to really see the organizational standpoint of this. And I think that within the last couple of days, we did see bits and pieces of it that could be considered a part of the RICO for sure. But the defense is not weak. Okay. Cassie, they were able to, find some inconsistencies in Cassie's statements on the stand. And so we're going to see how it flows and how it goes today. Okay. There are supposed to be other witnesses that are going to be speaking. And some of the witnesses, they haven't given us the name as far. I have seen a couple names that were thrown out there, but I'm just going to wait and see who pulls up and who's going to show up and show out. They said that Diddy was mad yesterday. They did say that. And they also said that Diddy, the entire time that Cassie was testifying, that he was staring at her the whole entire time, which can be a bit intimidating. But they did say that she stood firm and she never looked at him or even caught any type of contact with him. Whatever happened to the guy that was suing Diddy? The producer? You talking about the producer? Grand Rising, we're over here on the Beagle side of things. Alrighty, guys, let's get into the deets of everything that has come out as of yesterday. If you have missed anything from day 1 to day 3, you can go and watch on my live tab where I have been keeping very much close updates on everything and the key points of things that have come out of this trial, okay? Now, for those of you who do not know, I like to go over this because some people are kind of still behind on following up. Right now, Diddy is on trial out in Manhattan for the federal court case where he's being accused of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and then 2 counts of interstate transportation of prostitution. Thank you, Evangelist, for the super sticker. I appreciate you so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, Combs is accused of orchestrating a criminal enterprise that he had used his fame, his employees, his wealth to coerce women, especially his former partner, Cassie Ventura, into these drug-fueled sexual parties with male escorts and often filmed them as well to use the footage as leverage or blackmailing at some time in this whole thing, okay? Now, in the investigation, the defense attorneys have spearheaded in their method to cross-examine Cassie Ventura, where they are aiming to frame Cassie as a very experienced, while they do say that the relationship between her and Diddy was very much dysfunctional, they're saying that it was a dysfunctional love and sexual freedom is what her and Diddy had, okay? That's what they're standing on. They're standing on the fact that they believe that Cassie wanted to do this. This is not something that she was forced to do, and she did this with her own willpower and not by force. And they did this yesterday by basically having her read aloud the text messages in which her and Diddy had over time. Okay. Now, they did say that there was a flooding record of sexual, explicit, and affectionate messages between her and Diddy. They did say and assert that there was some drug use and drug addiction that was mutual and recreational. They did also categorize the freak offs as a part of a very consensual swinger lifestyle, while also recasting Ventura as a mature, experienced, and actively participant in these freak offs in which they had. Okay. Now, that is the defense stance on this. Okay. And they also are challenging her memory and her credibility in the timeline of events that happened in their relationship. That is the defense stance, not my stance. That's theirs. Okay. Now, when it comes to the timeline of what happened in day 4, which happened yesterday, right now we are on day 5. Okay, not including the jury selection days and all of that. Okay. So Cassie Ventura had returned to the stand, and the defense had questioned her about her past relationship with the music producer, Ryan Leslie. Okay. They did note that she was sneaking to be with Diddy while she was with Ryan Leslie. They also are alleging that there were stages in which Leslie would believe that she was going on some form of a professional, duty out there in Florida with Diddy, but the entire time she was going out there to be with him for sexual things. Okay. Thank you, Miss Dolores, for the super sticker. You are the best. Thank you so very much. So they also are saying that they did note that she was being sneaky, and that while she was being sneaky, they also alleged that she was naive in this whole thing as well. That's what they're claiming, that she was naive, and while she was young, and there was a lot of decisions that she was making. How old was she at the time? So she started dating Diddy when she was around 19 years old. Officially, it was public a little bit after that, but they knew each other prior to the official public relationships and public outings. So that is also saying they did open up with questions about Cassie's love for Combs, and Ventura did confirm, yes, I loved him. I thought that I was safe in his arms. Cassie's husband, Alex Fine, was also seen in court, and Combs' mother was also there, as well as his sons, while his daughters were absent this time. And as you guys remember, the daughters was there in the courtroom for some pieces of her testimony. But when it came down for them to show some of the footage and also some of the details, it is reported that the daughters did step out of the courtroom. Now, Cassie's husband was there, and the prosecutors also object repeatedly, as the defense had introduced text messages where Cassie had expressed sexual excitement or affection about these freak offs and things of that nature. Okay. Now, Ventura did confirm that she had sometimes coordinated these freak offs, such as contracting male escorts, as well as wanting to call or feel him out. She also clarified that she did so out of fear. So many people are saying, well, why did she do this willingly? And so what she is trying to get people to understand is this: yes, I did this. Yes, I was part of this, but I was afraid of Diddy. What the defense is saying, well, it doesn't look like that in the text messages, because you were actually a part of paying for the hotels. You were also a part of arranging some of the escorts. You were also a part of, giving them money. You were a part of all of that. So it doesn't look like that in the text messages, while the prosecution are saying that she did this because she was scared. Okay. Now, she did confirm that sometimes she did contact these escorts. Ventura also did show some text messages where she said that she deleted a dope video, basically a freak off video. She says she deleted it and asked if it was from the freak off. She did reply, I don't know. It was sexual, but I deleted it. It's what she say. Hey, South Central, how are you? So the court also did show some sketches that shows Combs taking notes, and it is also said that they began to press Ventura on her drug use and what she referred to as they are get high partners. Basically, her and Diddy was having these hard on this drug filled relationship when they were get high buddies. Apparently, they will get high together, which is kind of bizarre and crazy. Just imagine naming your relationship, y'all are get high buddies and all this weird type of stuff. But this is another thing that kind of makes the defense a little bit stronger, because it allows the defense to say, well, yeah, you were getting high, but it looks like that you was also enjoying it. The deleted video thing lost me. Well, the deleted video thing basically lets them know that she did attempt to delete it, but it was the response after the deleted video saying that it was dope, i.e., yeah, it was sexual, but I liked it. But I did delete it, but it was dope. That's what they're trying to push. That she gave some form of feeling about that video. Yeah, it did. She did delete the video. The question is, did she delete it because she wanted to protect herself? Well, is that the case? Because she did say that the video was dope. So that means she liked it in some way whatsoever. So what's the reason that she deleted it? That's why they asked her that question in that type of way. Okay. Now, it is also said that they did suggest that the freak offs were not about sex, but drugs, music, and also partying. So Cassie did agree, saying, yes, it was everything. Days of drugs, disassociation, and being controlled. It is also said that they questioned Ventura about the racketeering claims, asking her if staff ever saw the freak offs, and Cassie replied, I was high. I don't recall anyone walking in, but I didn't want them to know. Now, this is a little bit different from what I remember seeing in the producer's lawsuit, because the producer said, if you guys remember, and if for those that read the producers, now his thing said that many of his, people on his team knew how Diddy was. They knew that he had these parties, and many of them partook in some of these parties. So for her to say that she don't know if they knew about it or they never walked in is kind of a little bit different from what we've heard previously, but that could have been just her experience, that she has not seen them, see anything, or maybe the producer have, but she hasn't. So that can be give or take depending on how the jurors take it. And as you guys know, in my coverage, I look at it as both jurors. The jurors are people like me and you. How you guys have there, some of you guys feel like that Cassie isn't a victim, while some of you guys believe that she is. Hey, Miss E, some of you guys feel like that she was a willing participant, while some of you guys feel like that she isn't. There are jurors that are on the stand that have these same thoughts. So I'm going to give both sides, okay? Remember that video with Kevin not wanting to go in the room with Diddy? Yeah. With that big old bed? Yeah, I remember that. So you also have the court did resume after lunch, of course, and they came back with more messages where Cassie says, I want it to be uncontrollable. Colston says, I want to freak off right now. Cassie says, LOL, me too. I just want to have fun with you. So the defense has showed more loving messages where Cassie says, you make me a better woman, daughter, and sister. I don't need your money. I need attention. I miss you so much. I'll fly for you whenever. Cassie also explained that those messages were an emotional response in an abusive cycle, which it could be. Because as I explained to you guys before, he knows, if you know what a narc look like, they love their ego stroked. Okay? That's what they love. They love their ego stroke. They love when you tell them what they want to know. They love to know that you are all they need. They love that. So that could have been an emotional victim response. Absolutely. Okay. Now, it also, on the defensive standpoint, can make it look like, well, you actually asked for, and when he said that he wanted a freak off, you said, me too. So this text message here can go either way. Either way in that conversation. So they also say that they did highlight the jealousy between them, where Cassie did admit that she was insanely jealous of Combs' time with Kim Porter and other women in which he had. She did confirm that Combs did grow to be enraged about her relationship with Kid Cudi. If you guys remember, they did say that he burnt up Kid Cudi's car when he discovered that her and Kid Cudi had some form of personal relationship. She did confirm that he grew very, very enraged and that she used a burner phone to hide it from Combs when they were on a break, is what she said. Thank you guys so much. So she says, we on a break, but we were still doing these freak offs, i.e., yes, I was dealing with Kid Cudi. Yes, I had this other relationship, but I was also sneaking off to be with Diddy for the freak offs. Now, this can look at it as, this goes back to the people that say, why didn't she leave? Why did she stay for 11 years? This would be a one up for them, and I'm gonna give you an example why. okay? Even though she was in other relationships, she still made time to sneak off with Diddy. May sound crazy and it may sound strange. That is going to assist the defense because it's like, okay, so you were able to deal with other people. Yeah, you probably got harassed about it. And yes, he probably was a little bit upset, but apparently you made time to get into these relationships. It's hard to get in a relationship when you don't get time with the person. We all agree with that, right? How would she be able to arrange time to be in a full-on relationship with Kid Cudi if her and Kid Cudi never even had time to experience each other personally? So that lets us know that there were some time spent away from Diddy where she was able to have these personal relationships. But then she would also get upset when she learned about his relationship with Kim Porter. So that lets us know that there were times of breakage, but she would still wind up back over there with Diddy for these freak offs. Okay. So that's how that kind of will look on both sides. I believe that Diddy I believe that Diddy would say anything to Cassie to make her believe that he loved her, to keep her doing the freak offs. Very much true. Manipulation and control. It can very much be manipulation and control. Okay? She's not helping the prosecution much. She isn't. It's like I feel like that Cassie's I feel like us as a people, okay? You guys let me know. Press one in the comments if you would agree. I feel like that in this trial, what is going on is that Cassie is giving us this back and forth. So let me give you an example, okay? In her first, when she was being questioned by the prosecution before the cross examination, because she is the witness on the side of the prosecution, okay? She is actually the key witness. When she says, I was forced to do the freak offs, I didn't want to do them. You know, Diddy would also make me do the freak offs. And then whenever I didn't want to do the freak offs, he would then record me and then show me that, he has a recording of me and that he released it to everyone to see. Well, in the cross examination, we learn, well, yeah, Diddy did ask you to do the freak offs, but there's messages, ma'am, of him saying, I want a freak off right now. And you saying, okay, let's do it. So it's like we feel like we're winning on the prosecution's end, but then when the cross examination come, they have proof of her saying, "Yeah, I want to do it too." So it's like we're on this tug of war right now. Hey, Destiny, we're on this tug of war right now with Cassie's testimony. But on the back end of it, it's well, she was being controlled by a manipulative narcissist sex demon. Like we can look at it that way too. It's just she was with the freak offs. Do you think that she said it was because she was so scared? It could have been. It could have been because she was scared. It could have been, and as I said yesterday, people who are in these abusive relationships, they would do things that they don't want to do because they know that it makes that person happy. But here's where I look at it as here's what I look at it as, okay? Um Flying to make him happy is kind of crazy. You're taking flights and sneaking off from your boyfriend to be with him for these sex parties. That's a little bit kind of, and that's why I understand both sides of people's, because flying and catching whole flights to go meet with this man and doing these parties, and then you're lying to your significant other, because let's not forget, she had one of her boyfriends feeling like that she was going there for business, but the entire time she catching flights just for a freak off. This not even business. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I feel like it's a tug of war type of thing. Alrighty. Now, um, it is also said that she was asked about some more messages where she say, "You're making me look like a side piece." Cassie did confirm that she felt discarded and unsure if she was his real girlfriend. The defense also introduced some messages from 2009, where Ventura had appeared to be enthusiastic. "I'm always ready for a freak off. Let's get Jules. Want to call him? Cassie also reaffirms that she sent these messages, but says that that was an emotional obligation. I wasn't okay inside. So Cassie also confirmed that she had deleted most of the sexual videos and didn't want them to be recorded. She did acknowledge that she did help to coordinate some of these events, but said, I was groomed into this. I felt shame and guilt as well as pressure. So the discussion of drug use also came up as well during her cross-examination, where she says that it is also said that Cassie did confirm to taking some opioids daily. Okay. She says she took them daily at one point, and she says that Combs also used some MDAs and opiates and became very much explosive when she had used them without him. He didn't want me to stop using drugs. He just wanted me to only use drugs with him, is what she said. Okay. Now, here's the tug of war. Okay. Now, hear what I just now said. I'm gonna read that over again. All right. Cassie confirmed that she did take opioids daily at one point. She also says that Combs had used MDMAs, and opioids with her and became explosive when she had used them without him. He didn't want me to stop using drugs. He just wanted me to only use them with him, is what she testified. Now, here's the tug of war right here. When asked if Combs had once told dealers in LA not to give her drugs, Cassie did confirm, but says that she doesn't recall the year. She also confirmed that she took drugs at an event as well as with friends. So, what that just now showed us was this. Yes, he was upset when you used drugs without him. Now, here's where the question is going to go in jurors' minds. Did he only want you? And this is just me thinking as a normal person, because jurors are normal people just like us. Okay. So when she had said that he doesn't want her to use drugs without him, okay, jurors can think to themselves, okay, but you also have messages where, and you did confirm where Diddy had already contacted drug dealers and told them don't give you any drugs. Could this have been for your safety? Or was he enraged because you got high without him? Is he enraged because he don't want you to hurt yourself or harm yourself getting high without him? Or is he enraged because what is it your safety? Which one is it? You guys will see what I'm saying? Is it because he's upset because you guys are not together, or because he feel like that you get high better or is more safe when he can monitor what you're doing, and he can monitor to ensure that someone does not, lace you or anything like that? It can go either way for the jury. A power play. Exactly. Okay. So when it comes to Cassie's side of things, Cassie, she can use this as says, listen, yes, that is true, but I have already been addicted to drugs. So when you are already addicted to drugs, there is no controlling stopping me from doing it, because I'm going to want to do it because I've been grooming to this is what I do. This is my daily life. So whether he wanted me to do it or not, I'm so used to getting high. I'm so used to being separated from the moment that this is what I want to do, whether I'm with him or I'm without him. It can be looked at that way as well. Did he felt that he owned her? He did. He did. And we have to keep this clear. Okay. Um, let's not lose that this man's only cared about himself. That's true. Yeah, she's already conditioned to drug use. So whether he called a drug dealer or not and told them not to do it, a druggie is going to find drugs regardless. You guys know that, okay? Ain't nothing you're going to be able to do to stop them from using drugs. And let's not forget that she has been living in this lifestyle since the age of 19 years old. He's been getting her accustomed to freak offs, 36 to 48 hours of freak offs, drugs, cocaine, all these different opioids and all these different things that he sedated medications and all of this ketamines since 19 years old. As exactly your mind is ours, yours mind is ours. At this point, she's a dope addict. She's on drugs now. She's a drug addict. So he can contact as many drug dealers as he wants. She's gonna find drugs. And that's just simple as that. You can't reel back the drug usage just because she ain't with you. Ain't no reeling that back. You've already lit the flame to a druggie. Ain't nothing gonna stop that. So the baby oil that Diddy was using, from my understanding, it wasn't. From what they're saying is that the drug, the um the baby oil had uh MDMAs in it, is what they're saying. And so from my and this is coming from me reading the lawsuits, okay? And the not her lawsuit, but the lawsuits from the previous victims, where some of the victims say that he would, once he rub you down with the baby oil, you kind of lose you kind of lose reality, where some people think that they've only been there for 1 or 2 days when they've been there for 3 or 4. And it totally disassociates them from the moment, and they lose track of time and reality by whatever was in this baby oil. And that was discovered in the numerous of lawsuits that came from Tony Busby. That's where that came from. Okay, so um it is they did also ask if Combs had once told the dealers. I went over that. Okay. Now, in the final text messages that they went over, it is said, "I love you so much it makes me cry. Who knew that I'll fall so fast? I'm thankful, but I can pay for myself." Cassie confirmed that she felt deep emotion, connection, and dependence, but was also afraid that she was fulfilling fantasies, not in a loving partnership. Okay. So she felt like that she was more so like his fun girl, trauma bonding, and he was her fun. That's what and I don't know, but for me, it feels like that he did use this very young girl as his fun girl. That he had, people like Kim Porter, who everybody know how Kim Porter was. This was a well kept, well, fully aged woman. Okay. So whenever he wanted to have children and, have the family time and family life, he was over there with Kim Porter. But when he wanted to have fun and wanted a fun girl that was going to do his secret, sick, sadistic fantasies, he had a Cassie. That's what that's given. If that's what it's given, that he was going back and forth between the two, you know, and she knew about it, and which is why she was able to go around and be with different people while he went back to be with Kim Porter. And when they wanted to have their fun time, they had their fun time. Okay. Now, yeah, Kim Porter was partaking to it as well. But here's the thing with Kim Porter. I think that Kim Porter was more so, how can I say this? She did partake in some of it, but I don't think it was to the full on sadistic extent, because at the end of the day, this is his children's mom. Okay. So I think that guarded her from some of the things in which Cassie had to endure. You get what I'm saying? Like, you got to think, like, I don't think that he put her in that same type of category. You know what I mean? Like, it's some things that he possibly barred her from. A great young arm candy. Perfect word. Great young arm candy that can run with you. She don't have all the children in tow. She can be at any event that you needed to go to. She a great girl for the red carpet. She's good for the look and see. She's good for the party vibe. She's good for that. And then he has Kim Porter back at home with the kids. That's what it's given. Okay. I'm very blurred. Let me see if it's probably my. I look blurred, you guys? I don't know why it's looking like that. On my end, it looks clear. Let me know if it's better, guys. I don't know why my thing be losing focus sometime. I'm great now? Okay, cool. Thank you. Alrighty. Now, when it comes to the breakthroughs that came out from yesterday, all right? You have Cassie's messages that were explicit. They were loving and emotionally dependent, but she did testify that they were sent under coercion and manipulation. Then you have the drug control. So testimonies did reveal that Combs had used and shared drug use to maintain emotional and physical control over Ventura. Then you have the jealousy. So Ventura did confirm that there was a jealousy on both sides, but alleged that Combs' jealousy had led to stalking, violence, and retaliation. Okay. Now, there was a big debate that happened yesterday because the judge does want Cassie off of the stand and finished very soon. Okay. And it's because she's 8 months pregnant. So he feels as though that he wants to get her up out of here and get her up out of here fast. And he wants to try. So that was a big debate that happened yesterday. The defense does still have dozens of messages to present to the prosecution, and they plan to redirect Cassie and then call additional victims that are going to be using Jane Doe synonyms. Okay. Now, these Jane Does are the women that came immediately after Cassie. Okay. So if you guys remember the case timeline, you had Cassie, you had the producer, and then you had multiple other smaller cases from women that were known as Jane Does. Okay. Some of those women are going to be in court as Jane Does. These were the women that Diddy tried to force to unlift their identity. He wanted to know who his accusers were, and that's who's going to be on the stand in the coming days. All right. Now, as of right now, what's going on outside in New York, there's over 15 professional line holders that have been killed overnight. So what's happening out there in New York is that people are sleeping and standing outside. Okay. You have influencers that are doing some hot takes during the breaks. So it's really busy out there in Manhattan right now. You got supporters and critics that are giving chants of free Diddy, which is many people in, like I said, I'm just a journalist and a blogger. I'm in the middle. um there are people that feels as though that Diddy needs to be free. Now, if you are a Diddy supporter, I want you to put hashtag free Diddy. And if you are on the side of Cassie, I want you to put hashtag support Cassie. Stand on business and your feelings. You don't have to be bashful, because over here at Savage Royalty ENT, I understand that everybody have their own perception and own opinion. You will not be judged, I promise. Okay. You have your reasons behind your belief. Now, you also have here is where I want to break down how these testimonies could go. All right. And these are just my thoughts of what could possibly go on with these. All right. Now, the defense central strategy in this trial is to dismantle the prosecution's claims of coercion, the text messages that Cassie did express, the freak offs to be, she wanted them, was really heavy for the defense, and they're going to possibly able to use this to prove that she was not coerced in any type of way. Now, the key examples by the defense is, I'm always ready for a freak off. LOL, me too. I just want to have fun with you. And then, as well as, she did admit to coordinating these escorts and want to call him and fill him out. So the legal argument is, if Cassie appeared to be willingly engaged in these acts and communicated desire or consent in real time, it becomes more difficult to prove that her participation was obtained through force, threats, fraud, as a requirement under the code under code 1591. Okay. And that is something, the code that is being brought forth within this federal case. Now, when it comes to undermining the RICO allegations, so racketeering charges require that the prosecution show that Diddy had knowingly operated an enterprise to engage in a pattern of illegal activity. So the defense may argue that if Ventura was willingly sexual partner or participant, these events were part of a private lifestyle, not an orchestrated enterprise or commercial gain. So when it comes to the legal argument, the lack of external recruitment, financial transactions, or third-party coercion documents that was documented in the text messages could weaken the RICO offense. Now, I will say that if you guys remember on day one, there was a testimony from a escort, okay? That could look like an outside person. Now, one outside person is not heavy enough for RICO. So what they're going to have to do is bring more witnesses to prove, and keep in mind that this is supposed to be an 8-week trial. Thank you guys for the gifts. This is supposed to be an 8-week trial. So just because it's just her right now, it does not mean that later on in the trial that there may not be more people to add on that outside enterprise business deals like the escorts and Lord, there we go. Wi-Fi is acting a little crazy. YouTube, let me be. I'm back, guys. All right. Now, um, you also have the showing of an emotional attachment and relate in a relationship as well. How many witnesses do we need? You need multiple to prove a RICO enterprise. So to prove an enterprise, you have to first have the top tier, which is the leaders. You have the leader, which is him, okay? And then you have his people under there. So you can have his someone that was responsible for his scheduling, someone that was responsible for the drugs, someone that's responsible for the organizational part, i.e., maybe his business assistant or something like that. And these key people have to have a position within the RICO organization. If they cannot point that out within this, it's not going to be worthy. And then below that, you're going to have to be able to show who were affected, the victims. You need more than just Cassie. You're going to need a nice handful to prove that this was a full-on organization of trafficking. Of course, you're going to have to show that there was a trafficking commerce that happened across lines, maybe from Florida, i.e., how his house was searched in Florida and in LA. They're going to have to prove that there was some trafficking happening from Florida to LA or from Florida to New York, or that's what they're going to have to show with multiple victims. They need more than just Cassie, and they need more than just this one escort. And if they come out and say with multiple other victims that were trafficked from place to place and money was passed from place to place, there's your trafficking. Okay? There's your trafficking. If they're able to show that there were more than one victim, there's your trafficking through sex with more than one victim. But we need a good handful. We need possibly a good 4 or 5, maybe 6. If it's more than that, he's done. Finito, finish. I know that I said that I was going to do this yesterday, but what I'm going to do is right after this on Bigo, I'm going to go over the producer's lawsuit for you guys. And that's going to break down the enterprise of what they're talking about. As I explained to you guys yesterday, what Cassie's lawsuit did was allow us to see her standpoint. But what the producer's lawsuit did was break down RICO. He literally broke it down. So I'm going to do that for you guys today, okay? I was supposed to do, yes, Rodney Jones proved the RICO. Exactly, Layla. So we are going to go over that today for sure, all right? Now, when it comes with the prosecution, how some of the messages can assist him. So when it comes to the coercion and the grooming, okay? How many does the prosecution have? From my understanding, there's about 30 witnesses that's supposed to be coming within 8 weeks. I don't know if that's an accurate number, but that's the number that I keep seeing in the media. So the prosecution can frame these messages not as evidence of consent, but as signs of grooming and psychological entrapment. So the victim's long-term abuse often send a mixed message, especially when experiencing trauma bonding. Remember, you guys, one of you guys over here said that. Who said trauma bonding over here? Here you go. They're going to be able to show trauma bonding in these messages. Okay? The legal argument that Cassie's texts are consistent with the behavior known as coercive control. Okay? Coercive control, where a victim complies or express love to avoid violence or retaliation. That is what that is. So this does not negate abuse. It reinforces the power that is imbalanced. So in order to support the prosecution's claim, the text messages such as when Cassie say, they were just words. I was afraid of the consequences if I said no. He blackmailed me with videos. I felt like that it was my job to keep him happy. I just said that. Okay. They can look at these messages as she did this just to make him happy. Okay. That's what the prosecution can do. Now, when it comes to the context of fear and not free will, Cassie did testify that she had feared physical abuse or public humiliation. And if she did not participate in the freak offs, the text showing her compliance or coordination could be interpreted as a survival tactic with no desire. So when it comes to the legal argument in this in the US Code 1591, the coercion includes any scheme, plan, or pattern that is intended to cause a person to believe that failure to perform would result in serious harm. The prosecution can argue that her emotional and financial and professional dependence on Diddy does qualify for that code. Okay? Now, when it comes to the shame and the psychological disassociation, so messages like I'll go back and forth in my mind about wanting to and not, and wanting to and not, and I feel dirty and grimy. After direct insight into her conflicted mind, that is a direct insight into her conflicted mind state. Okay, on how she was back and forth in her thoughts. How you do have messages where she says that she does like it, but you also have messages of her saying that she felt dirty after. So it's kind of like a psychological conflict that she was going through is what the prosecution can use. Okay. And the legal argument in that is that these messages does demonstrate that Cassie had lacked she lacked full consent or formal consent. So she was not in this voluntarily. So the core issue is proving sex trafficking. There also is a counter that can also counter the idea that she enjoyed the acts simply because she didn't want to reject him, okay? Out of fear, of course. Now, when it comes to the evidence of manipulation, even an affectionate text message like I love you, you're my world, can be used to show how Diddy had maintained psychological control of Cassie, a tactic that is also often seen in long-term relationships of exploitation, i.e., some of you guys probably know how when you have, you know, sex workers, they may have love for the person who is their pimp. They may say, I love you. That's what they're saying. But that doesn't mean that that person wanted to be trafficked into sex work. That's how they're explaining it. Okay. Now the legal argument is, and that is emotional manipulation is an abuse tactic, and messages sent under emotional distress or fear of punishment should not be misconstrued as a legitimate consent. Meaning, we can't go off of what she said through emotion because we have to keep in mind that this is a victim of abuse. So how she responding would not be the typical of me telling my husband I love him, to her telling Diddy that she loved him. Her love for Diddy could be, I love you because I know that me telling you this will stop you from putting your hands on me. It will stop you from beating me. That's what her I love you could mean. Okay. Now, that is the wrap up of day 4. All right. She was under a spell. Remember, the industry does rituals and witchcraft too, huh? Could be, Layla. All right. Now, that was the wrap up of day 4. As I said, next week, thank you guys. As I said, next week, I'm only going to be covering it weekly, okay? Because this is a 8-week trial. I got so many other things that I do not want to miss, okay? We got so many other cases with regular people like us. Y'all know children are really my thing. Celebratory cases, I love to cover them. I swear I do. But I don't want to overcrowd you guys with Diddy, Diddy, Diddy. At one point, it's going to get a little bit draining. It's going to get a little bit repetitive somewhere during this case, I promise. It's going to start to look like that everything sounds the same. Every testimony is going to begin to sound the same, and I'm going to begin to drain you guys out with it. So what I'm going to do is next week, it's going to be a one-time wrap up at the end of the week, maybe a Friday or a Thursday, to cover what has come out for the whole week, just to ensure that I'm keeping everybody updated and giving you my thoughts on what's happening. Okay. What I'm going to do immediately after this on the Bigo side of things, I have to go over. Okay. I need to go over the producer's lawsuit, because his lawsuit literally mapped out the RICO once or twice. Yeah, it mapped out the RICO, the RICO in this, and a lot of people don't really understand how they're building the RICO. All right, as I told you guys yesterday, what Cassie's lawsuit did would allow us to see that Diddy is a monster. We knew this already. Okay. What the producer's lawsuit did was line up for the feds of what the RICO was and how it was ran. That's what his did. And I'm going to say this again. Where's the producer? Where is the producer? Y'all have not heard from him. Y'all have not seen him. Y'all have not heard a message, seen a video. When he first brought the lawsuit, he did say that he was getting threats. His daughter was getting threats at school. He was in line. He was in line the other day. Yeah, Lil Rod. He was in what line? Do you follow Gene Deal, the bodyguard? Yes. I've been following it since way before he even got the lawsuits, y'all. That's how far I've been following this back. Alrighty, guys, to the YouTube side of things. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys on Monday. Hey, Tia, make sure that you're here. New cases every day. And if you are new on my channel, please make sure that you do subscribe, as I do cover celebratory cases like this, missing persons, anything with child abuse and neglect is what I typically cover. Okay. And you can also follow and subscribe to savageroyalty.com to stay updated to anything that I do cover, as I do cover cases through the media as well. All right. So just go ahead and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. And thank you guys. Thank you to all my people that threw exclusives. Pache, oh, I missed you. Love you too. Dolores, Evangelist, thank you guys so much for your super stickers. I missed yours. I'm mad I missed your super sticker. Why you didn't say, girl, hey, savvy. Y'all know when I be zoned in, I be talking and running. Y'all, thank you so much, y'all, for the super stickers. Alrighty, guys, thank you guys so much, and thank you for watching, and thank you for tuning in to True Crime with Savage Royalty.